Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope that you guys had a good, snowy, extended, fun, relaxing Valentine's Day weekend. Hope that you guys are doing well and just continuing with schoolwork, with everything else going on. Hope that you guys are doing well. It's Wednesday, so you know that means it's Bible study day, and we will be in Matthew chapter 20 this week and talk about a couple interesting and cool things in Jesus' ministry as he continues on doing these stuff. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the very beginning of chapter 20 as Jesus kind of goes on this lengthy, extended kind of teaching monologue talking about talks about laborers in a vineyard. So he tells this story about this landowner who goes out and he hires people to work in his vineyard. So at 9 a.m. he goes out and he goes up to this group of people and says, hey, you're looking for work, you can come work in my vineyard. They say, okay, cool, we'll go out and work in the vineyard. And then he continuously does this throughout the day. Every few hours he does this at noon, does this in the afternoon, and then at 5 p.m. he even goes up to this group of people and says, why are you guys just standing here? And they say, well, no one's hired us for the day. And he says, okay, that's fine, you can come work for me for another hour or two until the sun goes down. And so all these people are out in the vineyard working, tending to it, doing all this stuff. So the end of the day comes, and at times it comes time for these people to be paid. And so the owner goes out and he pays all these people, pays them all the same amount, pays them all a day's worth of wages, however much money that is. But what happens is the people who start work at 9 a.m. sees that this guy pays the people who start at 5 p.m. pays them the same amount of money. And so they're like, whoa, they only worked like an hour. And so why are you paying them the same that you paid us? You're paying us for a full day's work, but you're also paying them for a full day's work, and they didn't work a full day. And this guy's kind of like, well, first of all, it's my money that I get to choose what I pay people. It's not like I'm shorting you. It's not like I'm paying you any less because of how you work, but they came and worked, and so I'm paying all of you a full day's wage. But the people who started at 9 a.m. are upset about it. And so Jesus kind of uses this as a teaching tool and says, am I not allowed to choose what belongs to me, choose what I do with my money and how I pay people? Or are you mad just because I'm being generous? And Jesus ends this with this ending phrase, so the last will be first and the first will be last, kind of continuing a common theme that he's been teaching and preaching about. And there's also another passage, there's a quick little passage in between this, but then starting in verse 20, Jesus has a conversation with the mother of James and John, these two sons that are his apostles. And so the mother of these two comes up to him and she asks him a favor. And Jesus says, what do you want? And she says, declare that these two sons of mine will sit, one at your right hand and one at your left hand in your kingdom. And Jesus says, you do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink of the cup that I am about to drink? And they said, yeah, of course, we're able. And he said to them, you will indeed drink my cup, but to sit at my right hand and my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those whom has been prepared by my Father. And so when the other 10 apostles heard this, they weren't very happy with James and John. And Jesus, talks to all of them and says, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over you, and their great ones are tyrants over them. It will not be so among you, but whoever wishes to be great among you must first be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be your slave, just as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life for a ransom of many. So both of these parts really connect here. Jesus, there's a parable about this, and then it's actually played out. Obviously, they weren't listening very well, but it plays out in real time as these people are still fighting for, this title. They want to have this title and have this position of sitting, to the right and left of Jesus. These people want, to have this authority and this power, and all these things that Jesus is talking about points to that that's not what the kingdom of heaven is about. It's not about having a title. It's not about having a position of authority. It's about lowering yourself and serving other people, thinking about how you can serve your larger community, how you can serve other people. This is Jesus' entire ministry point. Everything that Jesus does, and all these things point to how he's serving other people, not trying to be served by other people. And this, plays out in real time. With his apostles, even so far, we're near the end of this gospel. Jesus is getting ready to be arrested and crucified, and they're still having arguments like this. this, having, kind of want these earthly positions of power, things that they think give them status or wealth or authority or whatever. And all these things that Jesus is doing is pointing towards, if you're going to follow Jesus, you are not going to have earthly positions of power. You are not going to have earthly authority, anything like that. But what we're working towards and what we're investing in is something far greater than that, in the larger kingdom of heaven. And that's what Jesus is trying to point these people towards, is thinking about things in a larger communal sense, not just thinking about ourselves, but thinking about all of the people we're around and how we can help and serve those people, not just serve ourselves, which is what James and John were trying to do here, was trying to figure out ways that they could serve themselves and have these positions next to Jesus. Jesus is like, that's not really how it works, because Jesus knew he was about to die because of the things that he was doing. And so Jesus is saying, hey, following Jesus means that, you're giving your life up. And so is really trying to get them to focus on the idea of serving God, not just serving themselves. So it's kind of cool how both of these connect, but is also very real for how we think about things sometimes, is we want this to be a status symbol or something like that, and it's not. It's not self-serving. It's not about us. It's not about the things that we hold. It's about how we're helping, serving other people, and how we're worshiping God and trying to glorify God through the things that we do, not how God is trying to glorify us through the things that we're doing. So some things to think about, but some cool things to, look at how Jesus is really teaching these people, and how how Jesus is still teaching us these things today. So, as always, I encourage you to read through all of this stuff. There's a lot, even in chapters 20 and 21, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here about how Jesus is really prepping to undergo this arrest, this trial, and his execution and resurrection following that. So we're getting into kind of the last parts here of the gospel. So, encourage you guys to read this, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, please reach out and ask me. Really hope that you guys are doing well. We really miss you guys, and we hope that you're doing well. And sometimes that means just doing as well as you can on any given day, and just know that we're here for you guys. If you want to talk, having conversations, asking questions, we're always here for you. So, hope you guys are doing well. Miss you guys, and that's all I got. So, peace.